Welcome back, Syracuse Math Kitties. This is our final module for this school year. This module is Module 5, and it's dealing entirely with linear equations, which is a complete review for you guys. As you can see, this module has 6 topics. Okay, each topic has kind of like an introduction or like a sample problem showing you how to do your work, and then it's followed with, you know, some topics have only a couple of problems, and you know, some will have, you know, more than that, but you know, really like 2 or 3 problems for each topic, which is not a lot. So if you go through this packet, it really shouldn't take you a lot of work to complete it, because there's only about, you know, a couple of problems in each topic. So anyways, this first video I am going to tackle topic 1, and then we will move on to the next in the next video. And actually, let me show you how this packet looks like. It's posted on Canvas as module 5, but it's also been distributed to you guys, you know, and delivered to your homes. So this is how there's a file on Canvas called module 5 problems, and but if you were to receive the entire packet separate, this is what the front of the packet would look like. Module 5, Math 8, Miss Piraino, and Miss G right here. Okay, so let me just, okay, so you guys see that, and then you'll have this little tracker here, and as you can see, there's 6 topics. Okay, all of these topics are reviews. So the packet that you received in mail, or a packet that you can open up on Canvas, will look like this. Okay, and like I said, on Canvas it's going to be 3 separate files. All right, and so this file right here, obviously you're not going to do any work in that. There's also this, which is easy 100 points, you guys. There's actually no math in this file, right? So if you want to get some easy points, please go ahead and answer these. I'm not going to do a video on these questions because they're individual to each one of you. So just, you know, go through them and answer some questions. But like I said, in today's video, I'm just going to do the actual problems. Okay, so let me start with topic number 1. Topic number 1 says identifying slope and y-intercept from an equation and graph. So I actually walk you through how to do that. Okay, so let's read this together. Okay, it says, how can you use a linear model to find a slope and y-intercept? So first of all, we have to remember that the linear model comes in the form of y equals mx plus b. And in this case, m is slope and b is the y-intercept. Also, we know that the slope is also known as the rate of change, or m is equal to rise over run, which is equal to change in y or divided by change in x. So that's why we have y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. So for example, let's look at this graph right here. You have this yellow line, okay? And that yellow line represents a linear equation, but we don't know what that linear equation is. So how can we get to that format of x equals, hold on just a second, y equals mx plus b? Okay, we need to use this graph right here to get to this equation. All right, so we're gonna do that in a step-by-step fashion. All right, we are first going to decide what our y-intercept is, which is the b here. Okay, because remember up here I said that b is equal to y-intercept. So we're going to find what that is, and then we're going to calculate our slope, or m. Okay, so right here, I'm showing you how to calculate the slope. All right, so right here it says, looking at the graph, we can see that the point where our line crosses the y-axis is 0, -1. So let me use a different color here. Okay, so 0, -1. This right here is the point on the y-axis where our line crosses it, right? So at this point, our x-coordinate is 0 and our y-coordinate is -1. Okay, therefore our b in this formula here, our b is going to be -1. So we already have part of the equation. So far we have y equals mx minus 1, because we have decided, or we have figured out, that the point on y-axis where the line crosses it is actually -1. So we got this part done. Okay, now the next part is the slope. Okay, so we're going to calculate our slope, okay, using that formula, y2 minus y1. Okay, this one right here, you guys, y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. So let's look at this right here. It's actually incorrect because I used the wrong point for the x coordinates. So disregard this. It's going to be a little bit different, okay, because we have to find the slope, we're going to use the 2 points, 0, -1, which is this guy right here, and then -2, 2, which is this guy right here. Okay, so this right here is going to be your x2, y2, and this is going to be your x1, y1. Okay, so we're going to follow this formula here, and we're going to just plug in. So m is equal to y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. Okay, so our y2 is this guy right here. So that's 2 minus, and here's our y1. Our y1 is -1. So it's 2 minus 1. Okay, so you guys see this part right here is correct, but I'll show you where I made a mistake. Okay, divided by x2. x2 is -2. -2 minus, okay, x1. So here's our x1. Our x1 is actually 0. So that's what I made a mistake in here. If you guys see, I put -1 for x1, and it's actually 0. Okay, so it's actually 0, as you can see. So now let's calculate it. So 2 -1 is basically 2 plus 1, which is 3 divided by -2. So our slope is -3/2. So this is our m, you guys. And now we can actually write out our entire equation, which becomes y is equal to -3/2 x. And what is our b? What did we say? Our b is -1 minus 1. So there you go. This is the equation that represents the line on this graph. Okay, so let's see. So this one right here is incorrect just because for x1 I used -1 instead of 0. Okay, so you guys, you're going to disregard this one. Okay, this is the correct equation. So now that is the sample problem. You would follow basically the same process for the assigned work. And if you don't understand something, what I would do is I would go ahead and review, okay, the sample problem, and then I would attempt to do it again. And if you're still struggling, please let me know. Give me a call, send me a text message, and I will walk you through it. So number 1, it says, what is our slope and y-intercept in the following equations? Okay, so you're being asked, so this is the format of the equation, y equals mx plus b. Okay, if you go back up here, okay, the m stands for slope and b stands for the y-intercept. Okay, it's up here, you guys. I gave it to you. I gave you the answer in the sample problem. M is slope, b is the y-intercept. The slope comes right in front of the x, and the y-intercept is this number that's separate from the variable. Okay, so let's look at it. It says, what is our slope and y-intercept in the following equations? I'm going to do one of them for you, and you can do the rest. So let's see. How about b? Okay, so the slope, or m, is equal to, okay, it is the number next to x, that's attached to x, so it's 8/9. Okay, and what is our b? Well, the b is, as you guys can see, a number that's added at the end. So our y-intercept, or b, is equal to 12. Okay, so that would be number one. You guys can do the rest of them, A, C, and D. I gave you the answer for B already. Okay, and then number two, it says, find a slope, M, and the y-intercept, B, okay, from this equation here, right? From the following three graphs, and then write the corresponding equation in the y-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. So you have a couple of different things that you need to do here, okay? If you look at your sample problem, first thing that you're going to do is you're going to locate 2 points on your line, okay? And then from those 2 points, you're going to be able to find your b, or the y-intercept, and your slope. You'll find the slope using this formula right here, okay? The change in y divided by change in x, okay? So let's look at it. I'm going to zoom in and I'm going to show you how to do this. I'm going to work through the first one. So on this first graph, we have to find 2 points. Okay, one has to be where the line crosses the y-axis. So I would say that is this point right here. Okay, that is your first point. And what, from the looks of it, this point is 0, 1. Okay, and we'll call this x1, y1. Okay, now our second point, let's see where, like another exact point on the line. I would say that this one right here is an exact point. Okay, so this one is 1, 2, 3, 4. It's 4, -2, 1, 2. Okay, so I would call this x2, y2. Okay, so right away we know that our y-intercept, or b, this guy right here, is where the line crosses the y-axis. Well, where is that? It's this one right here. So our y-intercept is actually 1. Okay, so b is equal to 1. Okay, now the m is equal to change in y divided by change in x. Okay, so let's see. y2 is -2 minus y1 is 1 divided by x2, which is 4 right here, minus x1, it's 0. So what is that? -3/4. So that's our slope. So now we can rewrite the formula or the equation. So our equation for this first graph, graph A, is y equal to -3/4 x plus 1. There you go. So we had 1, 2, 3 steps essentially. Okay, now you can do that for these other two graphs. I would pick this point right here because it will give you your y-intercept, and then I would pick maybe this one right here because it seems to be at the perfect point on the graph. So this one right here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 3. And this one here is 0, negative 2. So this will be your x1, y1, and this will be x2, y2. So then go ahead and find what your b or the y-intercept is. What is your slope, which is y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. And then you're going to plug it into this. Okay, whatever you find here and here, you're going to plug it into this equation. Okay, and then do the same thing for C. I would say right here, this is your first point because it's going to give you your y-intercept or B. And then the second one, let me see. I would say this one right here is another good point. So go ahead and work through that and then come back for video number 2, which will cover topic number 2.